unlike what we saw in Baltimore, where they're driving around in Humvees and helicopters, 4 or 5 helicopters in the sky. You know, Cleveland's definitely being a good representation of how you should deal with something like this.
Well, if you have police that become above the law when they do bad things, it will end up bringing down the entire legitimate state system, and then will give rise to the federalization of the system itself, controlled by globalists. And that's exactly what Soros and Holder and Al Sharpton are pushing, and they've told us that's what they're doing. Here's Al Sharpton 2 weeks ago.
We've been fighting them all over the country, which is why we're going to do this march from here to Washington. We need the Justice Department to step in and take over policing in this country. In the 20th century, they had to fight states' rights, and to get the right to vote, we're going to have to fight states' rights in terms of closing down police cases. Police must be held accountable. I don't think all police are bad. I don't even think most are bad. But those that are need to be held accountable.
Okay, so because there's some bad people, then everyone has to lose their rights. Why do we even have states, Al Sharpton? I mean, if it's a black-run city like Baltimore, Chicago, partially black-run, areas like Cleveland, a major, African-American representation, how on earth do you then, in Democrat black cities, blame whitey? Okay? I mean, it's a problem system-wide. Out-of-control militarized cops shoot white people, Hispanics, all the time. The numbers show that. Sheriff Clark's broken those numbers down. Again, the whole world does not orbit around a few hundred maximum black men being questionably killed every year, and I'm sad it happens. But when evil, vicious villains like Al Sharpton and George Soros are obsessing on it, you know it's bad. They used grievances in Ukraine a year and a half ago to bring that government down and lead us to the edge of World War III. They used grievances to put the Muslim Brotherhood in charge of areas like Libya and Egypt to commit giant mass murder. They're taking us somewhere worse. What is it people don't understand? If a Nazi collaborator that wants our guns and hates liberty is funding and bussing hoodlums in to attack the police, it's being done to destroy the First Amendment and create a diversion for Obama, Joe Biggs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Al Sharpton is planning on being here Friday, I believe, Alex. And a lot of people are already kind of upset over that. A lot of the people that I've talked to are sitting there saying, like, why is this guy going to come out here? All that it ever does is start controversy. All that does is bring out hate in people because no one trusts him. And then behind me, you've got 4 of the commies from RevCom out here. Those guys, every time we see them, something happens. I mean...
Can we go talk to the commies?
Yeah, let's talk to them. Why not?
All right, if it gets too hot, we'll skip this network break, but we'll play it by ear. Joe's walking over the commies.
You mind if I talk to you? So, why are you out here today, sir?
Well, I'm not. I unite with what's going on.
You unite with what's going on. What are you uniting with?
We can't wait. Basically, calling for justice.
So, hold on.
So what do we do?
But I'm not really, I don't want to represent the march.
No, but tell him as an individual what he stands for.
But who are you?
As an individual, what are you
with?
I'm with InfoWars.
InfoWars?
InfoWars. We're a website, and we do a radio show, a nightly news. We're out of Austin, Texas.
Ask him what should be done.
So what should be done, do you think, to stop a lot of this stuff from happening?
Well, actually, dramatic mass action is what has to be done to say we will stop police murder of black and brown people. And we're not for walking through the courts and all that. We got people arrested, and we're going to fight that. We want those car charges dropped from Saturday, 71 to 77 were arrested.
Has anybody been released yet?
Yeah, they've been released, but they got charges, and we're saying no charges, drop those charges. This is legitimate to say no to police murder. This case of Timothy and Melissa, the guy who doesn't even get manslaughter.
So they want to get mass movements in the street. Ask about his organization.
We will kill with impunity and continue to.
So what organization are you with, sir?
I'm with the Stop Mass Incarceration Network.
What is the revolution? What is this? What's
That's
BA?
the revolutionary RevCom.
What's RevCom?
RevCom is a website of the revolution. Revolutionarycommunism.com.
Ask him what communism stands for.
What's communism stand for?
Liberation.
Liberation?
Absolutely.
Ask him if he thinks a liberation's about to happen.
That was a
Do
liberation.
you think a liberation's going to happen?
I think at some point it will, but it's not inevitable. Can't say it's going to just happen.
So you want people to get out in mass numbers and move through the streets? And
Does he think this
just what
summer
they're
could be
doing.
the beginning of it?
Okay.
do you think this summer could be the beginning of a mass movement?
It already is.
It already is?
It already is.
Yeah, that's it.
Ferguson started it.
Ferguson started it?
Yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah, George
You know, when
Soros.
I was in Ferguson, I saw you guys out there.
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
And you were the ones, I saw a lot of you guys with Molotov cocktails. I thought that was pretty
No, you
interesting.
didn't. Yeah, you're full of shit.
No?
Delete
I
that.
saw you guys.
Not.
Y'all
Delay
were the
that.
ones who were getting kids riled up.
Joe, you know, again, here's what's happening. You've got the mega elite that are tax exempt like George Soros funding this because they believe this summer is their time to have mass revolution, and then Obama will use that to come in and take over. This is Cloward and Piven. This is their plan. So separating the problems with police, good Lord, we wrote the book on trying to stop this from happening. This is a classic communist takeover plan, except they won't put the communists in the end. They'll just bring in basically a multinational UN stabilization force and just bring us under corporate fascism, Joe.
It's the same thing with ISIS and Taliban. They go out, they look for these young, impressionable minds, they get them amped up, they spew their rhetoric towards them, they give them a microphone, they give them a position to where they feel like they have power, they have a position to make a difference and have some kind of change, and then they put them in the line of fire and let them die. That's what happened overseas with these guys. You got these RevCom guys who go up to these young, impressionable minds, these young black men, they get them amped up, they start spewing forth their rhetoric, then they go, hey man, you're angry, why don't you take this this bullhorn, why don't you tell the police to go F off, why don't you go do this and that, you know, and then they hand over that Molotov, hey man, come on, this will make a difference, don't you want the revolution to start?
And you were out there in the pitch black when this was happening, but you said you saw yourself people with Revco buttons, Communist Revolution, that they were the ones handing out the Molotovs.
Yeah, I mean, I even went to the police officers and I said, hey, look, these are right here on the ground. We spotted them. Is there anything you guys want to do about it? They didn't do anything. They ignored my, my warning. I showed them where it was, and they just went off about their business. And then what happened? Those exact same Molotovs got used.
Yeah, to burn down black churches and stuff. We're not saying that individual you just showed on camera was part of that, but people with the communist group were involved. That even came out in the news later. Joe, somebody was just talking to you. What was happening with that?
Oh, the guy's a fan of the show. He just wanted to come up and say hello.
Oh, cool. Well, if anybody's a listener and wants to talk or anybody else has a view, that's great. Are the commies still around?
They're on the other side of the street. They're staying over there by themselves. You got anything you'd like to say about what's going on out here today, sir?
Not too much, but I just don't really like what's going on in the country right now. I kind of got a good idea of what's going on and not really too happy about it. I see they're trying to stir up a lot of racial division and police versus citizen. And
well, it's interesting, right? You know, we've got two workers that are like best friends, Sha'Carri Jackson and Kit Daniels, and they went out and they did a video going out and showing people, because that Starbucks is doing that racial divide thing where they were saying that, we have to race together. So Kit Daniels is going out saying, hey, thanks Starbucks for letting me know that me and my black friend here had racial tension. We didn't know that was there. So, they're creating this narrative where they want everyone that turns on the TV to think that
It's a full push.
Whites and blacks hate each other, but they don't.
It's a full push.
They don't. I mean, I got a lot of black friends, so, I went to high school with, and, it's complete bull.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, we're going to go to break.
Keep us distracted,
I'm going to go back to Joe because some of your audio is dropping. Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Listen, you don't have to go be around the commies if you don't want to, but we're going to go to break in a few minutes. I'd like to come back in that little 5-minute segment, and I'd like to have you go over and talk to the commies. I know you're by yourself, and I'm not afraid of that, but I think it's important to go talk to them. Are they still nesting?
No, they've moved on. I got to follow everybody. When I talked to him, they started moving past me, so I'll find them.
Okay, find them. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll, once we go live again, right at noon, we'll talk to the commies if we can find them, okay?
Yeah, they're not young vampires like the ones in Austin. These are old, frail, and agile. So.
Oh, well, no, those are the handler types. We're investigating the Austin group. We already know who their handlers are, and we're going to be engaged in legal journalism researching them because, I've dealt with these groups before that are tied into the city and city organizations and city-funded groups. And then we investigate how the money's being spent.
Okay, well, fuck you.
There he is.
Comment about
He's telling me to go F myself. That's right. He's mad because I'm saying that communism is stupid.
Tell him if he likes the Red Terror. Ask him.
You like the Red Terror?
I mean, communists killed like 200 million people, folks. I mean, they talk about getting rid of the state. It's the ultimate state, and it never withers away. Joe, you don't have to mess with him too much. I'm going to come back to you in a few minutes, okay?
All right, yeah, there's a bunch more that walked up this way. I'll find them.
All right, we'll talk to you in a few minutes. We have another special guest coming on to just get into the whole cornucopia of what's happening in the airline industry in this country and also worldwide. Rodney Stitch is an American author and former Federal Aviation Authority investigator. His work led him to believe there's a major corruption at the heart of aviation business. Gee, think so? He was in Iran when the CIA brought down the destabilization of democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh. He went from whistleblower in a life and death assignment to corruption fighter in the 60s and was uncovered multiple scandals with his sources. He's the best-selling author of Unfriendly Skies, one of 20 books he's written. He is coming up in the third hour. We're going to cover world news and take calls in the second hour. Briefly, gosh, you think about how all these billionaires and all these people promote communism and it's supposedly sexy and cool, and then you get around them or you actually read the writings of Che Guevara, who was basically like a white supremacist. He hated the Indians, the natives, called them retarded, dumb, they needed to all be killed. And then you see people that are obviously Mesoamerican, Native American from south of the border wearing Che Guevara shirts, and it's just, you just can't help them. I mean, they might as well be wearing an Adolf Hitler shirt. Of course, the Nazis really didn't have a big beef with people in Latin America. That's actually where they all ran to. There's nothing nastier and more elitist than a communist. I've been around, I've seen it all, folks, and they are the scum of the earth. Just the most miscreant, underhanded, sneaky, deceptive, dishonorable, lying, cheating, venomous, ugly, rat-like, stinking, parasitic maggots the world has ever produced. And they're just growing with unlimited billions funding them like weevils getting into the flour or something in your pantry. They are just infesting everything and creating class warfare. While mega banks fund them. Why? Because the mega banks all want us fighting with each other. Because there's unlimited wealth under free market if you're willing to just do basic jobs and work. Free market just builds total wealth. The problem is it creates decadence, and then the commies move in. The problem is capitalism works too good. It produces too much, and people get lazy, and then they basically wake up mindless thugs on the continent that their forebears built, and then their children just turn into total spoiled, rotten scum. And then we fall. While they complain about the fact that they can get 100 flavors of ice cream, while they complain that they can have all this shelter for such low prices, while they complain because somebody else has got a nicer car than them or somebody else has a big house. Don't you understand? Wealth produces wealth when it's spent and used in the economy. The globalists create trillions and trillions and then hoard it all and hold it as an economic weight, a ball and chain to enslave us and to siphon off our wealth. Oh my gosh, I am just so sick of these bags of pus. Let's go back to Joe Biggs. Joe Biggs joining us, his feed cut out. They're in Cleveland. Were you able to find the commies?
No, I think they kind of dispersed. I think that guy told him who I was and decided to leave. He said he would have never spoken with me if he knew I was going to spew forth such anti-communism rhetoric.
Why don't you love communism, Joe?
Because it's stupid. Especially these guys, man. All they care about is destruction. They don't care about anything whatsoever.
Well, I've been around commies. When you have a drink with them, they go, look, we're going to kill everybody. And we really just want to kill people. And I go, so what do you stand for? I stand for murder. And you're like, but what comes? He goes, killing. So it's really a devil cult, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why the